Welcome, everybody. For those that don't know me yet, my name is Ursi, and I'm part of the Esade admissions team. I am responsible for recruiting students in Africa for the master students, for the MBA, and then also for the executive MBA. So today we're going to be, having an interesting conversation. I'm happy that our alumni, Jainaba, George, could join us, and then also our current students, Nikita and Edmund, are here. Welcome to all of you, and thanks for making time to be here and sharing your valuable experience with candidates from Africa. So what I suggest is that I'm going to be doing like a brief introduction of the full-time MBA program. And then I think I would like to start with having some questions for our students and alumni. I also would like to share some information on the career opportunities, the career activities, work permits for afterwards, and then also the financing. But I would like to do that in a later stage because I do know that Edmund has to leave around, in half an hour. And so I would like all of you to have the opportunity to also ask him questions and interact with him. So let me share my presentation. All right, great. I think you can all see it. If not, just let me know. So today, first of all, I would like to welcome our students and alumni who are going to introduce themselves in a little while. So welcome to George, Nettleton, to Jainaba, to Edmund, and to Nikita. So all of them have gone through the MBA program, are doing the MBA program today. And first of all, for those of you that haven't gone into details yet, I would like to tell you a bit more about how the program is structured. So here you can see that the MBA journey is like a journey that you can customize, right? First of all, you can choose between 12 months, 15 months, or 18 months.
And Ursi, I don't think we can see your screen. Just
you
in
cannot
case.
See my screen. Oh, sorry. Thanks for letting me know. So you can see it now?
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. Okay, sorry for that. All right. So on the slide, you can see the format of our MBA program. And you can see that, you might know that you can choose between 12 months, 15 months, or 18 months. The program is flexible. If you choose to go for 15 months, you can do or an exchange program or an internship. If you go for 18 months, you can do or 2 internships or an internship and exchange program. So you can see that besides the core courses that are taking place during term 1, 2, and 3, you have a lot of extra, I would say, value that you can add to the MBA program. And we're going to be talking a little bit more in details afterwards with the students and alumni. So you can see that from the very start of the program, you're going to be working with our career team on all kinds of career activities, which I will show you later more in detail. For those of you that are interested in doing a career accelerator program, we have 4 options there. If you want to focus on consulting, in financing, healthcare, or tech. And then also there you will have the opportunity to do different study tours, study tracks to different cities around the world. And also different kinds of challenges and competitions that, of course, will also give you exposure to companies, right? Which then could be of value for your internship if you wish to do one, or your placement afterwards. So this is in a nutshell how the program looks like. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I think what's next is I would like to ask Jainaba, George, Edmund, and Nikita to introduce themselves. Maybe tell us a bit more about your pre-program experience, And then in case of Jainaba and George, yeah, also let us know where you are now, what you're doing. Maybe Jainaba, would you like to start?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Jainaba Njie. I am from the MBA class of 2023. I'm from Gambia, West Africa. Before the MBA, I was working in the US as an electrical engineer and wanted to move into something else, more of like entrepreneurship. And I decided to join the MBA program. But then after the MBA, I kind of pivoted towards venture capital. So now I am more within the venture capital space. I am part of like the investment committee of a VC in Nigeria, and also currently looking for full-time.
Thank you, Jainaba. George. Hi, George. Nice seeing you. Long time.
It's been a while, but yeah, good to see you. Good to chat. Good to see the Esade building in the background. Yes, so my name is George, originally from South Africa. I did about 8 years working in finance and banking for Africa's largest bank, and then decided I wanted a complete change. And so I wanted to enter a different industry or different sector at a completely different from finance. And so decided to do the MBA, which I did in class of 2021. So I began in 2019. Mine was the class that went through the whole of the COVID shutdown, so it was certainly a unique experience. But now I'm currently working for Amazon, and I've been working in the operations division, worked in the supply chain planning, and I'm just accepted an offer to move across to Revolut, which is one of the digital banks here in Europe and the US that are making waves. So yeah, looking forward to chatting a bit more later.
Thank you, George, and congratulations with a new job.
Thank you.
Nikita, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Nikita, Namibian South African. I'm part of the current MBA program. So before I joined, I had 2 years in asset management and then 6 years in HR consulting. And yeah, also looking for a change in career, change of location. And so that's why I came to Esade. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Nikita. Hi, Edmund.
Hi, Ursi. Hi, everyone. My name is Edmund. I'm from Ghana. I've lived and worked in Ghana. I've worked in banking for the past 8 to 9 years. But I mean, I did other things on the side. I co-founded some startups and worked with some startups on the side as well as side projects. So for me, I wanted to embark on the MBA to sort of transition into mainly consulting, to be exposed to different kinds of businesses. So that's my story. It's still in progress, but we'll see how that pans out. So nice to meet everyone, and looking forward to your questions.
Edmund, yeah, maybe we can continue with you. And I would like to ask all of you, so why did you decide to do an MBA at that point of your career, right? And why did you want to do it abroad and not in your home country?
I mean, and for me, the experience, it's just having a network of different people, different backgrounds. And if you want to be a global leader, having an international experience is a great one. And if you do an MBA outside of your region, also add that kind of value to you. So for me, it's just to be in a global working space, you need to just have that foreign MBA on your CV that adds value, and to do it in a top MBA as well. As we know, the ranked MBAs are not found in Africa. So if you want to have that kind of experience on your CV, it's good to do. And just meeting new people is an interesting journey to embark on.
Thank you, Edmund, for sharing. What about you, Nikita?
So I saw that there are some South Africans on the call as well, besides
Yes.
George. So I did my undergraduate at University of Cape Town, that many of you may be quite familiar with. And while it's an incredible school, I think its highest ranking was, I think, 100 or 99. So of course, it would have been a natural progression for me to do the MBA at University of Cape Town. But what attracted me to Esade, first of all, it's a partner university. So UCT recognizes Esade as a university. So that was great for me. And then also from a personal perspective, I wanted to pivot back into Europe. So I spent 3 years in Germany. And now I went back to Namibia, and now I wanted to see what my options were in Europe. And of course, it is then a better platform to be at a top ranking university. And as well as Edmund said, the network is incredible. A diverse group of people, 166 people in our cohort now, all from different nationalities. And the reality is just that at UCT, the school that was my second option, they were not offering that diversity. And that was a big component for me when joining. Thank you.
Thanks, Nikita. George?
So yeah, interesting question, because I did my undergraduate actually in business. I've got a business science also from UCT. So people ask me why I decided to do an MBA and study further. But to be honest, the main two reasons were, one, it was going to allow me to transition to a higher management level sort of position in a different sector or different industry. The MBA in general is what sort of enables that or allows that. Otherwise, when I was looking for other roles, everyone's like, you've got a history in banking, why aren't you just sticking to banking? So for me, wanting to move out, having that sort of MBA certification allowed me to do so. And then secondly, why did I choose sort of Esade and going abroad is mainly because of the number of opportunities that are now actually available to me. I think many South Africans can probably understand how working in South Africa, sort of you're stuck down at the bottom of the South African bottom of the African continent, and that exposure to sort of international opportunities, the international markets, just really isn't there. Whereas sort of being part of a European MBA and one of the top ones in Europe and in the world meant that I had a far greater exposure to companies from around the world, whether they be Japan, European-based, American. And so, yeah, that's essentially why I decided to do the MBA and chose to do it at Esade.
Thank you, George. And so, yeah, as you said, the MBA really makes it possible to do this triple change, right? Changing country, changing sector, changing a job position. And I think you're a good example of that. And what about you, Jainaba?
Yeah, for me, like I mentioned before, I was trying to look for a school so that I could improve my business skills. And I was trying to get into entrepreneurship. And Esade is known to be, like, at least at that point, #1 for entrepreneurship in Europe. Also coming from Gambia, we don't have like a really like good universities. So, I mean, for me, an option abroad would be a better choice. Also, I mean, Europe compared to the US, because I did my undergrad in the US, was a little bit less expensive, and also more, I guess, closer to the African continent, so I could easily fly home. But yeah, I think for me, yeah, being in Esade was like being closer to home, and also just being able to, have access to like a global network. Like Nikita mentioned, the diversity as well.
Yeah.
Brought me Esade.
Yeah, and I think some of you also mentioned the diversity in class. So maybe Edmund, would you like to tell us a bit more about who are your peers that are in class with you? Where do they come from? Their backgrounds? Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I think in our class we have like 44 nationalities from different parts of the world. I serve on the Student Association board as the VP of Budget, and we have people from Brazil on the board. We have people from Argentina. We have people from India, and then among others in class. I mean, there are different people from Russia here and there, and then it's just interesting getting to know these different cultures, the way they approach things. Just that diversity in class makes you appreciate things from a different perspective. And for me, that's to be a global leader, that's essential to have. I mean, you find yourself working in different geographies if you want to be a business leader in the future, because every business is seeking to grow. So having the understanding of how the different cultures just interact is just a very enriching experience for me.
Yeah, and so in the beginning on the slide that I showed, well, I talked very briefly about all the ways you can customize the MBA program, right? And maybe you could share a bit more about about your experience. What did you do to customize? Maybe Edmund, you want to continue, and then I would like to also ask the others, how they.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, for me, I mean, in term 1, you just do like core that everyone is doing. Term 2 is also similar, but in term 3, that's when you have the option to really customize. And I mean, you could just decide to do it in 12 months, and that could save you some money as well. It just really depends on you and the kind of experience you want to have. I'm still figuring out if I want to do 12 months or 15 months. And I think that gives you some level of flexibility to explore different options that you may probably not have with other MBAs. And I mean, at this point, I've not really decided on what to do, but the fact that I have the option to choose whether to do an internship, to just do maybe electives in the summer and just finish up, it's a great option to have. And I think that's an interesting one. I mean, I haven't decided, so I can't really give the specifics as to what influences the decision or not.
Yeah. And you've been, I mean, both Nikita and Edmund, you've been on study tours or study tracks? Not yet?
Yeah, so I actually have, so there are different clubs that organize different tracks. So I'm going to be in Madrid tomorrow. Actually, we are going to have a finance club. This is a student-organized track where we will visit some companies in the finance space. We are going to visit BBVA and then some other private equity firms. So that's also an opportunity to sort of explore the region as well.
Okay. And Nikita, how did you customize the program?
So I'm literally in the same class as Edmund. So we both began our MBA in September last year. And what I will say is I'm a little bit different than Edmund in that this is my exchange. For example, I came all the way from Namibia. I had spent 3 years in Germany. So it's really open to what you want and where your purpose is. And what I would say is that what Esade offers you is everything. You just get to choose what you want. So for example, today our class rankings came out, and based on your class ranking, you get to choose, or you'll see which exchange schools are available to you. I, for example, won't be going on exchange because for me, I would really like to embrace Spain and the experience here, but it remains available to you to go on exchange. From a career perspective, this is also the time to apply for internships. George is at Amazon. He can speak more to this, but for example, Amazon has also reached out to me. I didn't even apply to them. So these are the kind of things that are happening even while you're in classes, etc. And of course, a lot of work has to be happening on your side, but it does help. What I would say from where I'm at currently in this journey, and Jainaba was an amazing friend when I literally my first week landing in Barcelona, and she took me under her wing. And she just said, just be clear on what you want to do. And that was the best advice that anybody had given me. And so when I came to Barcelona, you'll see everybody doing everything. And at times you will feel like, okay, I should do everything. I should go on an exchange. I should go do an internship, etc. But I know what my path is. And so I'm carving that out alongside my career advisor. And Esade is just giving me that opportunity to do that. And I'm really enjoying that at the moment.
Thanks, Nikita. What about you, Jainaba?
Yeah, just like Nikita said, the MBA has this thing called FOMO. So you have to be very careful. If, sometimes you do come in and you don't know what you want to do, which is fine. But there's a lot happening. And if you are not careful, you might end up not choosing a path that maybe the time in the MBA would have given you to think of. So for me, I didn't, like I mentioned, I wanted to get into entrepreneurship, but I honestly didn't know exactly what I wanted at the end. So rather than just like following different paths, I just focused on like, the entrepreneurship route, and then just based on the classes that I liked, kind of formed what I wanted to do. But they do provide, I mean, like Nikita said, they do provide everything. They provide like, study tracks. They provide like these clubs, different clubs as well, where you can join, and different like tracks. Like you have the healthcare track, you have the finance, tech. So they provide different things. And consulting as well. So you just need to decide like what you want, and then customize. Same as the exchange. I didn't do the exchange because I went to school in the US. And I already lived in Africa, so Europe was like kind of my exchange, just like what Nikita mentioned. Um, and then exchange, it depends on what you want to get out of it. Some people maybe want to live in the country they're doing an exchange in, so they, take that exchange. Some people want to like have like classes that maybe Esade doesn't offer, and so they use that exchange as a way to like get those learnings. So it just depends. I think it's just important to sit down and figure out like what you want, and then customize like what Esade has available, basically.
Yeah, so like Jainaba said, so an exchange program could be interesting for you to get if you say, okay, I see myself working in the States. So doing an exchange program in one of the partner schools in the States will then, of course, give you access to their alumni network, to their career service. You will be there for 3 months interacting, building your network, interacting with companies. So that could be a really good reason for you to do an exchange program, right? While if you do an internship, of course, that is going to give you practical exposure to a company that might be recruiting you afterwards, right? So it all depends on where you see yourself, where you want to go, and of course you will receive the help from our career advisors, right? And Jainaba, you went through the entrepreneurship accelerator program, right? Can you tell a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So Esade has a accelerator called eWorks. So before that, we have an entrepreneurship class where you actually get to like work on either an idea with your classmates, or come up with an idea you brought in before the MBA. So for me, I brought an idea before the MBA to the class. It was like a whole project, and I won like the competition. And so from there, I kind of was given some suggestions on different resources by a professor, including eWorks Accelerator. And so I joined. It was in the summer, which was great because I got to do electives and then also work on my ideas. So they basically provide you like mentors. You get to test out your MVP. They have like few short sessions where you can learn about different things, from, the legal side of starting a business, how to like gain customers, the right ones, to how to like implement your business plan and test your MVP. So it was very valuable. I got to go to Kenya as well to test out my MVP. So these are all resources there, and it was a good experience.
Thank you, Jainaba.
Maybe also just quickly add on to what Jainaba said about the entrepreneurship. I mean, I had a business back in Ghana, and I think that the network Esade has in terms of entrepreneurship, it's so great. There is formal setting in terms of the class where you have access to resources, where you have a professor taking you through what it takes to sort of drive a business and what you need to do if you are pitching and all of that. But in terms of the informal sessions that they have like a session called Founders Meetup, where you meet people that have raised like millions of dollars and how they did it, the process they went through, people that have developed different businesses here and there. And you just meet up over drinks and they share their ideas on, this is how my process works. This is what I mean. We met someone who raised about like a lot. I think he raised 30 million. He's now going to sell the company for about 100 million. He doesn't have to work again. I mean, just access to people like that just sort of even inspire young founders like us. And that's kind of the environment here in terms of the entrepreneurship bit, which I think is great to have.
Thanks. Edmund, I do know that you need to leave because you have class, right? So feel free. I mean, you've been very helpful. And I'm sure that the candidates here can reach out to you, that I can share your contact details. Okay.
Sure, sure. Anyone that wants to reach out can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'll respond anytime. Nice to meet you all.
Enjoy your class. Bye. Thank you, Edmund.
All right.
Hi, George. Would you like to share a bit more? I do believe that you went on an exchange program, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, correct. So obviously, as I mentioned, my cohorts, we were quite interrupted by sort of COVID and the travel restrictions that placed on everyone. However, I was still lucky enough to be accepted to go when everything opened up a bit further, and I chose to go to LBS, London Business School, which at the time was, I think, ranked number 2 in the world, with a big focus on corporate finance, which is why I decided to choose them. I wanted that exposure with regards to my MBA education. So yeah, I got to do 3 months of a exchange, as well as doing a 3-month internship, which I did during the summer. So I actually did the full 18 months at Esade. I was enjoying it actually so much and getting enough value out of it that I decided to stay around. So did an internship, did an exchange. Unfortunately, a lot of the study tours, they were all cancelled and sort of put on ice for our year, unfortunately. But it's not as though we necessarily missed out. We did get a lot more exposure from professors, from former alumni who came and gave us sort of chats and conversations, whether it was what it was like to work in tech in Vietnam, or fashion in Japan, or the family business in Colombia or Brazil. So we still got a lot of that exposure, even though the circumstances at the time didn't really sort of help us that much. But yeah, I think as everyone's kind of said, is that your MBA is going to be exactly what you make of it. Nikita had sort of very sound advice in terms of you're going to have FOMO and you must choose what you want to do and what you want to get out of it. When I first joined the MBA, someone quite wise said to us, there's the 3 S's, which is sleep, study, and social. And you can only ever have 2 of them. And basically, you're going to have to go through your whole MBA life or career kind of just choosing and balancing off whether you want to sleep, whether you want to study, or whether you're going to actually look at the social aspect of things. And having good time management means that you often manage to get all 3 of those kind of aligned, and get to make the most out of your MBA experience. I think you're on mute.
Sorry, George, how was you working together with the career team? Because I mean, you got your internship, right, at Amazon?
Yes. So actually,
so how did that go? Yeah.
I was also part of the Esade Student Council. It's called the Ambassador Board. And my role in particular was the VP of careers. So I dealt with the careers team on a weekly basis. I was the go-between, obviously, between the student body and the actual careers team. So I had quite a lot of engagement with them. And I was consistently impressed with the level of sort of focus and dedication that the careers team was putting into sort of each student and just trying to get them where they wanted to do. You get a variety of, I suppose, students who arrive at the MBA. There's some who know exactly where they want to go. They want to go into consulting, and this is what they want to do. Or there could be another side of the spectrum, like myself, who just knew what he didn't want to do, but wasn't quite sure yet. And I think that's a bit harder for careers team to work with. But as long as you kind of engage with them, you're setting up sort of weekly discussions or bi-weekly discussions, exploring roles, applying to jobs, chasing down different avenues and paths. Are you wanting to focus more on entrepreneurship, or would something like the VC space interest you, or private equity? Whatever it may be, as long as you're engaging with the process, the careers team is there to sort of support you and help you and sort of provide guidance or contact that you could use, someone you could speak to who might be able to help you. And so to me, the career support that was provided by Esade was probably the most valuable of the things that I got out of the MBA was actually just getting that connection to that network, the connection to the advice, just to see what else is out there and what my opportunities actually were. Yeah, hope that answers your question about careers.
Yes, for sure. And what about you, Jainaba? How was your relation with the career? What kind of career activities did you participate in?
So for me, I was not like George. I didn't use the career services as much, but I did have a mentorship. I did take part of their mentorship program that they have. I don't know if they have it anymore, but basically it's just guiding you through your the career path that you wanted or trying to figure out what you wanted. They also had this program, I forgot the name, but it's more of like for people who don't know what they want to do. And so basically we would all like be put into like focus groups, and every like month we would meet up and do research in different industries and just help each other. And if people had experience in that industry, they would give you some insight. I'll figure out the name again, but basically those were the two.
Yeah, I don't remember neither, but yeah. And Nikita, what about you? Because I mean, I have some slides which I would like to show you very quickly about the careers and all the activities. And they start very early once you start the program, right? So Nikita, how was your experience?
Sure. So I think I'm kind of in between George and Jainaba. So when I joined, I knew also exactly what I didn't want to do. So I needed to move away from consulting. And then you join and half the batch wants to be in consulting. So you'll get people who join and from day one, even before they join, they case cracking, they're reaching out to companies, they're networking. And that's a crazy part as well. And so if you want that, you should be geared for that. And Esade creates spaces for you, but be ready to work from day one. And so I'm more of what they call the mature batch, because I've been working for 8 years before joining. And so the careers team has been working with me as to what my career looks like post having done consulting and what the work I was in, which again is not an easy case for them, but I have a really amazing career advisor. And something that may be worth saying is that when you come to Esade or a school like Esade, you need to invest in your network. It's not only the people that you meet in your class, but it's really the conversations that you're willing to have with those people in your class. Because people are going to refer you to other people. People are going to open their networks to you. I mean, I'm from Southern Africa, Edmund's from West Africa. We are sharing our networks at the moment. So an option for us is, do we go back home to Africa? What would that look like post an MBA in Europe? That's a very honest conversation we're having. And what does that mean? Can I branch out my investment banking network to a candidate like Edmund, even though I don't want to be in investment banking? And so it's a very collaborative community here in that it's give and take. So I am part of my career journey just as much as my career advisor is part of my journey. And then, of course, we come here and we want to branch out into Europe. So what does that look like for me currently? I'm exploring that at the moment. And of course, Ursi will show the visa requirements. I'm sure all of you are following the news. What will it mean for me as a South African Namibian individual getting a visa to work in Europe? And so those are avenues I'm exploring at the moment. For me, I'm looking at Switzerland and the Netherlands at the moment. And so what companies are based there, which companies are hiring, and these change year to year. So you're never going to get a list of guarantees like these people are hiring and you're going to get a job and they're going to take 10 people from Esade. And so it's really what you make of it and how much you're chasing as well and how much you're networking.
Yes, and we do have an amazing career team. So if you allow me, I would quickly want to walk you through. I'm going to share my screen again, and now it's going to work. Yes. I think you can see my screen, right? So I'm just gonna share. Okay, so regarding the career activities, and all of you have already mentioned, well, quite a bit. So how the career team is organized. So first of all, they are an important group. So they're more than 30 experts. And they work like sector-wise. So they're really specialized in specific sectors. So it's a very international team. And as you can see here, you will have contact with your MBA career lead, with your coach you're going to be working with, and then also depending on the different, I would say, sectors that you would like to concentrate on. So the team is really specialized or in consulting, in tech, in financial services, in healthcare. Also, we have now some career advisors that are specifically advising and establishing relations with international organizations and with NGOs. So they will give, like, first of all, like training opportunities. They organize career workshops, they training sector-wise, and then they also do a great job in advising about your CV, about they're going to be giving you advice, also really focused on specific sectors. They're going to be doing mock interviews with you. And then, of course, also here we have the alumni that are working as mentors and that going to help you. For example, I have a really beautiful example with current executive MBA students that one of the ladies from South Africa, she's setting up an incubator for female entrepreneurs. She already has a business, but she wanted to really, she was working on the business plan, and two of the Esade alumni consultants that were working with her fell in love with the project. They went to South Africa 2 weeks ago. They've been working with the entire team on helping them to successfully set up their business. So there's a lot of, involvement and collaboration from our alumni helping current students here with their business plans, right? And then a lot of interactions with companies. Companies will come to campus, give presentations about the sector, what is important, what skills are needed. You're going to be working then with the career team on developing those skills. They also organize recruitment events where companies are coming to campus. You will have the opportunity then to do interviews with them. And then, as also mentioned before by our students, we have tracks and study tours. So some of the tracks are really focused on meeting companies. For example, consultant track that goes to Dubai, where you're going to be meeting companies, and the same also for other sectors. And then, of course, they will provide a lot of tools. They will also make like CV books that they will share with companies where they will be able to consult your profiles. Okay, and then the individual advisings. So there's, from one side, you have vision meetings, you have sectorial advising, and then also, as I mentioned before, the mock interviews. And how it works, like the timeline, you will see that depending on the sector, the career fairs and the recruiting will start earlier or later. And so the first sector where all the activities start rolling is the finance, as you can see here, from the very start, even before you start the MBA program. And then you see consulting, impact, and then tech and global industries, they start later in your MBA journey. Okay, so this is going to be for later. I would also like to ask our students and alumni if you faced any challenges before you start the program, during the program, that you would like to share with candidates. Maybe Jainaba, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. I think before the program, maybe the challenges was like finding apartments. I think if you do like get into Esade and you plan to come to Barcelona, I think that's the first thing you need to take care of, because finding housing can be difficult. I think during the program, I don't know if I had as many challenges. I think maybe after the program, I graduated in a year where the job market wasn't great. So finding a job that I want has been a challenge. But now things are changing. So, but yeah, that's me on my side. I didn't have any during the MBA. I don't remember, at least.
So regarding the housing, once you are enrolled in the program, you will receive like information on housing from our student advisor, right? And also information on visas, how to apply for the visa, how to get your Spanish residence card. And what our students are doing, I don't know if it was also when you were doing the MBA. So they basically come up with an Excel sheet for the housing where everybody can indicate the preferences, like, oh, I only want to be with women, I only want to be with men, I have preference in this neighborhood. I don't mind having parties at the house, like all those kinds of, I would say, preferences. And then we will start well, once, I think it was last year around April, May, we set up a WhatsApp group where the students that were enrolled already could start interacting and also talk about housing, because I mean, there might be students that are here before that find a contract and then would reach out to others like, look, we have a contract, there are 5 rooms, who would like to join, and so on. But I do recommend, I mean, not to wait until the last couple of weeks, because I mean, you have to get, I mean, yeah, you have to get used to a new environment and settle down so that you don't have to rush and you know, and get to campus and yeah, start with all the academic part, right? So this would be my advice. Nikita, did you have any challenges?
Yes, I was actually just writing them down because initially what I thought would have been super difficult was actually easy. So I was quite stressed once I got, I mean, of course, everybody stresses about the admissions essays and the GMAT. So I'm not sure where you guys are at in the process. I will admit I'm not one of the technically most strong people. So the GMAT, I hated it, absolutely. But I'm sure you know there's also the Esade test. So I highly recommend doing the Esade test. It's free. It's under much better conditions. I could do it at home. So just for my anxiety, that was way, way better. And I found that out quite late in the process. So if you know about that early in the process, I think it's much better. But just hold in mind, if you want to get into a finance role, they might ask you for a GMAT. I didn't want to, so that was fine for me. But something for the South African students, because I graduated from South Africa, it's become really complicated to apostle your degree. It was an absolute nightmare because I was in Namibia at the time. So if you're struggling with that, I don't suggest you do it via, I forget what the educational authority is. There is a faster way to have your degree apostilled because you need to bring the hard copy with you physically to Spain. That was a huge nightmare for me. And then I think in terms of landing, just having a little bit of self-reflection before you pack up your life back home and coming and thinking about, okay, so yes, you need the practical things like housing, etc. But really thinking about when you get here, one, it's going to be the academic component. And the Africa group has been amazing. I mean, even people that have left still share notes, still share advice. I call Jainaba sometimes. She's not even in Barcelona anymore. I call some other African students. They've been really great. If you want to ask some academic advice or just life advice in Barcelona. But I think also be mindful that you are relocating and it's a very hectic program, and it would be important to have a good network that supports you. So make the time to know that you're not only coming here for academics, like make the time to socialize. There are incredible people here. And socializing is easy for some people and not for other people. So that's why I said about the self-awareness, like know what you're going to have to do to be socially kind of accepted here and form part of the community. I think now that I'm further on in the journey, that is what people are struggling with more here.
Thank you for your advice, Nikita. I'm sure it's very, very useful. What about you, George? Any challenges?
Yes. So, Nikita just gave me flashbacks to the issues I had with trying to apostle my degree. So I would definitely read up about it and try and find a third-party service provider that can assist you with this process. Same thing goes for police clearance, or any of those other documents that you might not necessarily need for Esade, but you will start needing those for internships or job applications, and getting those sorts of things out the way at the start is really good. I did a bit of Spanish lessons, just some very basic ones, so that when I arrived, it wasn't sort of a completely blank slate, and that kind of helped me quite a bit with regards to just navigating myself around Spain, trying to find apartments, just sort of the basics. Something, I suppose, the best piece of advice I can give is that, as Nikita mentioned, you are uplifting your entire life and you're relocating to a completely different country and everything, but it's not just you doing it. I had 180 other students, well, 165 because they were from Spaniards, but 165 others who were doing exactly the same thing. And so reaching out to them and asking questions like, hey guys, what did you do for this? Shooting a message in the chat, just don't be afraid to sound ignorant about something, because there's a 95% chance that someone's gone through exactly the same issue as you, or will go through exactly the same issue as you. And so you bringing it to light just kind of helps everyone sort of ease it along. And I think during the MBA, what were the challenges? I put down here, just focus on time management. Take the time to actually plan your time. And I think that was one of the key things, was actually, they'll say to you afterwards is that the greatest value you get out of your MBA isn't necessarily what you learn in class, but the network you start to build and create, whether that's former professors, former alumni, or actually just your classmates itself. And so taking that time to go for dinners with your team, reach out to some people in the other sections that you might not necessarily have formed as close friendships with at the start of the year. That sort of stuff takes effort to do, but it pays off in the long run when you've got this much broader, I suppose, base and connection of everyone who went through this MBA experience with you. And now I've got friends dotted throughout the world as a result of this, which I'm very grateful for and grateful to have, and I wouldn't have actually had if I hadn't gone to an MBA as internationally focused as Esade was. So yeah, take the time to reach out, make those friendships, make those connections, and realize that building your network is just as important as learning your debits and credits in accounting. So take that time to be social.
Yeah, I have, well, not on this topic, but I would like George ask you a question, and then I think we can open the floor to questions from all of you. How did the MBA help you to get, the job at Amazon, and then now to change and grow your career?
Okay, so to be absolutely honest, one of the things I probably took for granted, but and I'm sure a lot of the people who are actually currently on the call are quite similar, sort of highly motivated, driven individuals who are wanting to sort of further their careers. And then when you get into sort of the international world that is sort of applying to jobs in Europe and America and Asia, you realize that pool of people who are just as driven and just as motivated as you is far higher than what they were, whether it was coming down from South Africa or probably many other African countries. And so you're up against some of the very best, and having that polish on your application, or knowing exactly how to put yourself across in an interview, what points to highlight, what experiences are going to actually matter, how to problem solve and not just rote learn something. All of those are the things that Esade actually does really, really well at preparing you for. It's not just about bashing out as many applications as you can and sitting in as many job interviews. It's making sure that the job interviews that you give are of high quality. And when you're applying for companies such as Amazon, Microsoft, the consulting firms, the BCGs, the top four of this world, you need to make sure that you're going to actually stand out from many of those other sort of top sort of clients. So for me, the opportunity that I got to do with Amazon, now it's Revolut, knowing what above and beyond I had to go and do in the preparation for the interviews, the background checks, the case cracking that I had to do, that was completely invaluable. And I didn't have those skills, I think, prior to doing the MBA. And that's, I think, the small piece that starts to come together to build a bigger puzzle that will be your, I suppose, your value proposition to any company going out there when you actually go out and leave the MBA and go into the job market and try and further yourself. So for me, that was the biggest gain that I think I got from the MBA.
When do you start your new job?
I've got a
Soon, right?
2-month waiting period still with Amazon to do. So I'll be starting in about 2 months' time. I'll be moving across to Revolut. So really looking forward to it.
Wow. Okay, good luck with that. So I know that, Jainaba, you also have to leave like in about 8 minutes. I have some other information to share, which is also, well, challenges for a lot of our African candidates, which is the financing. And then I would also like to say something about all the possible work permits for after your MBA, but I want to do that at the end. I think for those of you that want to stay a little bit longer, but I think now we still have a little bit of time to ask some questions. So, well, feel free to open the microphone, ask your question. Who wants to go? Who wants to go first? Kevin? I think Kevin wants to. No? Okay. Well, let's see who else. This is an opportunity for you to. I mean, I know that we already covered a lot, but I'm sure, I mean, you might have some questions that are relevant for you. Nobody? No questions? No? Okay, so then what I suggest is that I talk a little bit more about financing, about very quickly the work permits, and then you might have some questions coming up. Jainaba, if you have to leave while I'm talking, don't worry, right? Okay.
I can do another 10 minutes. It's
Okay.
good.
All right. Okay, let me first quickly say something about the financing. Okay, here we go. Perfect. All right, so another challenge for a lot of you, and we know, is the financing. So that's why at Esade, we are granting scholarships and different like loan options with our banks. So we have the Excellence Award scholarships, we have the NEET scholarships, and then we have, well, different loan options with different banks. And then also, well, for now, I would say for African students, we have also one partnership scholarship. But first of all, what the Excellence Awards scholarships. So this is a scholarship that is merit-based. This is a scholarship that we're offering all year long. We take decisions on a weekly basis. So once you're admitted to the program, if you have applied for the Excellence Award, we will consider then your application in the weekly scholarship committee. So the result is very fast from our side. So by the deadline that you will enroll, that you will be asked to enroll in the program, you will then know about your Excellence Award. So as I said, we take into account your academic background, your professional, your experience, your international exposure, your personal impact, your motivation. And this scholarship goes up to a maximum of 50%. The good news is that this year, because it's very hard, I mean, so far it was very hard to get a 50%. This year, we have a little bit more margin. So for those of you that haven't applied yet for the Excellence Award, which is good news. So, yeah. Then the second kind of scholarship that we are granting is the NEET scholarship. This is a scholarship, of course, which is based on also merit, but on top of that, we will take into account your financial situation. So you will have to provide information like bank statements, pay slips, and so on. And this is a scholarship that unfortunately we have few available. They are granted in 3 deadlines. So the second deadline has passed. So we're about to take a decision in the coming days. And then we have one more deadline, which is coming up on the 27th of March. So if you have not submitted your application yet, we're still in time, but we do have to go fast to make sure that you've done the interview, that you've done the admissions test, to have everything complete to go for the third deadline. When I talked about partnership scholarships, this is an interesting opportunity for women, and I do recommend. It's a kind of excellence scholarship. So I do recommend to apply for the Forte, because besides the merit-based, the excellence scholarship, you will also have access to the Forte organization worldwide. So that means that you will be a member, you will be invited to all the activities that are taking place around the world. I got a question here. How many excellence award? So there's not a number of excellence award. So we have a budget for the entire intake. And then, of course, it is a fact that when we come closer to the start of the program, our budget is going down. So there again, I wouldn't recommend to wait until July to apply for an excellence award. Regarding the NEET scholarship, last year we had 3 available for the MBA program, and then 6 for the master programs. So far this year, for the NEET scholarship in the first deadline, they hadn't taken any decisions. So that means that this month they're going to take decisions about for the first and second deadline applicants. And then regarding the loan programs, and this for African candidates, the options would be Prodigy Finance, Sabadell Bank, and then depending on your profile, this will be case to case. Also, Lendwise is offering some options. And if I remember well, Edmund financed a part of the fee with Lendwise, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, good. So this regarding the financing. Any further questions regarding the financing? No. Jainaba or George, would you like to share? Yeah, or Nikita. Oh, there is a question in the meantime. Okay, so I don't know if you can read it. It seems like most of the speakers already had some sort of solid experience in whichever field they were in. What is the minimum number of work experience? Okay, so you will see that officially we say a minimum of 2 years of work experience, but we don't have that many candidates that join the MBA with 2 years. So it is important to have a solid work experience, which is, I mean, not very realistic knowing with the 2 years. But we do have some students that have 3 years of work experience because they did have a really interesting and solid work experience, right? So, yeah, I don't know if you have any examples from your class, George, Jainaba, Nikita, about yeah.
Yeah, sure. We had some people who just literally, as you said, done 2 or 3 years. And we had some people who had up to sort of 15 years worth of work experience. I'd tend to agree that the value you're going to get, and as well as the value you're going to provide, because the MBA is sort of a collaborative thing where we do a lot of learning from each other, is far more valuable if you come in with at least a couple of years worth of work experience, at least knowing what it's like to be part of the economy, and also just what management is like, and management of whether people, management of customers, managing both up and down, and sort of others within your organization. So
Yeah.
I definitely agree that you'd benefit from having sort of a bit more than, let's say, 1 or 2 years worth of work experience. But we did have people with just that same amount who kind of came in fresh. They were often the ones that were the most sort of optimistic and most energetic. And they also hit the ground running. They also did fine. They also learned a lot. I just believe that the more value is created if you've got a bit more.
You're muted, George.
I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
But don't let it stop you at all if you only got 1 or 2 years from applying. The recruitment team do a pretty good job of actually working out if you're applying for the right sort of reasons. And if you're going to get that value sort of out of it, have that discussion with whoever your recruitment person is. I think it'd probably be Ursi, and then just go from there, because you don't let that sort of stop you from holding you back from actually applying and taking on the MBA.
Thank you, George. Nikita, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think just to complement what George is saying as well, I think that, and this goes for all schools, from my experience, because I also interviewed with London Business School and I had informal chats with UCT. If you are one of the candidates that have less years experience, what you have to be aware of is that your GMAT is going to count higher towards your weighting of your application. The type of experience, they're going to want you creme de la creme of those people. So yes, we have people in our batch that have 2 years experience, but they have very unique experience because it's what they add then to the class component. Whereas I've been on the more fortunate side, I would say from my perspective, is that I have more work experience. And so the GMAT, for example, is not weighted as higher. It's more than, but then from my perspective, then what I put in the essays was very important. How you interview is more important because the expectations start changing. And something I just want to warn against, because I've seen this happening quite frankly in my batch, is that don't view the MBA as an academic experience. If you want a full academic experience, you want something to add to your academic record, rather do a master's program. I'll be quite frank about that. A master's program, you're going to really embed yourself in the theory, in the technical knowledge. You're really going to up your skill in one specific area. The MBA is really, as George says, what are you going to contribute? How do you want to change things? How do you want to change the way you're thinking? It's not rote learning. And I've seen people be very frustrated about that because oftentimes there is no answer. And it's about how you're going to deal in a situation. And you can contribute to those conversations if you have managed people, if you've even been retrenched because you've dealt with those situations and you have something to add, particularly from your region. Then I would really recommend that you apply for the MBA.
Thank you, Nikita. Jainaba, would you like to add something?
Sure. I mean, just to add on to Nikita and George in terms of like what you bring to the class. I mean, we have a lot of case studies and they're in different industries. So where our classmates need us is if we have experience in that industry to give insights and so they could learn from us. So that's where the experience parts comes from. So I think that's why, at least for my class, the average was around 5 years. But I mean, like George said, don't let it deter you. Just see how you can add value to your class and then just communicate that in your application.
Thank you, Jainaba. Yeah, I saw some questions about, I will send you the presentation by email, so don't worry. So you will have everything tomorrow in your email, the information on the financing options. Okay, any other questions? I think let's see. I don't see further questions. No questions, no? Then maybe at last, I would like to say something about the work permits for Spain. For those of you, that's going to be for all of you, not for non-Europeans, right? So let me share this one. I'm not going to go into details because I'll send it to you and you have all the links and you can have a closer look at it. And of course, you're going to be well informed once you start a program by our student advisor. So there are a lot of options on the market and it will depend on what suits you best in what situation you are when you graduate. So these are all the different visas that are available. So we have a job seeker, an internship, employee, high qualified, a blue card, which is something new that I didn't know about, the nomad visa, entrepreneurship, and then a researcher visa. So very quickly, the job seeker visa is of course a visa that you can't work, and you will in the yellow part you will see all the observations. So it's a permit that's going to be for 2 years that you can stay, and you can also see there how long it takes to get it. What are the documents that will be asked from you? So all the information is there with links, and I'll send that to you. Then we have the internship visa, which is where, of course, you can work. And this is a visa that is directly done between the company and yourself. So Esade is not involved here. You can also see if it's extendable or not, and here again the documents that you would need to apply. Employee visa, which is for 1 year, can be extendable for 4 years in total, and then you have a limit of numbers of hours that you can work while the application is in process. Then high qualified professional, that here they're going to take in account your salary, and you will see that if you're under 30 years old, the requirement is going down with 25%. So there again, up to 5 years, and the permit is for 3 years. The blue card, which is something new that I have to investigate further. This information was all given by our student advisor. They are doing separate sessions on that. So once you are enrolled in the program, you will be invited for more detailed sessions. So the difference here with the professional visa is that it's not linked to a specific job contract. And there again, up to 5 years, and extendable, and for 3 years. And then digital nomad, which you will all have heard about. Of course, you can work, but not in Spain. It's remotely, and it's also a permit that you can get for 3 years. The entrepreneurship visa, which of course you have to come up with a business plan that you will have to present, and if that is approved, you can get a permit to stay in Spain for 3 years. There are more requirements, but at least you know the basics now of each of them. Any questions? It's a lot of information, but don't worry. I mean, it was just for me to show you that there are possibilities. You will receive help, but yeah, it's good to be prepared and to know about that. I got some questions. Maybe support for visa. Do you support for a visa option regarding intern and employee ones? The internship, of course, you will receive all the information, and our student advisor will guide you about what to do, what documents you need. But I believe that the internship is directly with the company, and then the employee, I'm not 100% sure, but I can find out for you if you remind me. I can ask our student advisor. Yes, so what Nikita answers about the scholarship, you can apply for both, but if you are granted both, we will maintain the highest one, which of course would be the NEET scholarship, which goes up to 75 or 85% of the tuition fee. Okay. Last chance for any question. No? Okay, so from my side, to all the candidates here, I will send you an email tomorrow with a presentation, so you can have a look at it. If you have further questions, you can ask me. We can schedule a follow-up call. And I will also send you the recording, which will be available in a couple of days in case you want to rewatch the session. And yes, for the MSc program, we have a session next Tuesday, William. I will send you the invitation so you can attend next week. All right. Okay, then, well, thanks a lot to Jainaba, to George, to Nikita, and Edmund, who left, for being here, for making time. I know that you're all very busy with work, with exams, with classes. So I really appreciate it here being of great help for our candidates. And yeah, I wish you good luck, George, with a new job, Jainaba with the new opportunities, Nikita for the rest of your program and the exams. And so yeah, thanks for all the candidates for being here. I hope you enjoyed. And, you know, I'm always available. Feel free to reach out to me. And I hope, well, that we will all see you in class. All right. Bye. Bye-bye. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.